Namaskar, good afternoon. I'm Swati Joshi joining you straight from the newsroom with the latest developments. You are watching Newsify. Let's first tell you about a bill which is creating a lot of buzz over whether your UPI transactions will now incur extra cost soon. So what is this bill that we're talking about? This bill amends the Payment and Settlement Systems Act 2007. And why is there such an uproar or political firestorm over this particular bill? So this bill authorizes the government to allow banks and other payment service providers to charge as far as transactions conducted through any UPI application is concerned. Before we get you the fine prints and details of what this bill actually is all about, we have some breaking inputs coming in on the broadcast. Like I told you, there's a political firestorm, a lot of political reactions coming in with the opposition hitting out at the government. This has now led to a face-off between Mr. Jairam Ramesh and Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman over the UPI route. This particular face-off is only exploding. So Congress is in fact doubling down on their charge against the government, and Nirmala Sitharaman has hit back. So the finance minister has in fact responded to Mr. Jairam Ramesh and has fact-checked Jairam Ramesh. Now in this particular post, the finance minister has responded to the concerns raised by Mr. Jairam Ramesh. Let me in fact go across to Meenakshi to get us more details on that. Meenakshi, tell us all about this face-off. What were the concerns or allegations that were leveled by Mr. Jairam Ramesh, and how has the finance minister responded to that, the fact check?
Well, absolutely. So, Swati, the fact check happened earlier. There was obviously an attack which had come from the side of Jairam Ramesh, to which, Nirmala Sitharaman, the finance minister, had given a detailed reply. Now, this is a counter coming in from the side of Jairam Ramesh, the broad side here, and we will take our viewers through the exact, post which has been put out by Jairam Ramesh. It's a rather detailed, counter which has come from the side of Jairam Ramesh. Now, basically, he has responded to the 5 points which had been made by Nirmala Sitharaman. What did Jairam Ramesh say? Finance minister's response to my quote-unquote, as Jairam Ramesh calls it, the canards hinges on 5 dubious claims. Number 1, he highlights the MDR issue. He says that Nirmala Sitharaman, remember, had said that MDR is going to apply only to merchants, not to consumers. Jairam Ramesh says no, that is misleading. It is going to be charged to merchants, but it's inevitable that they eventually pass the transactional cost on to the consumers, either via higher price or differential pricing. Point number 2, then he highlights the other claim which had been made by the center. It will support banks and fintechs to invest more in infra, innovation, security. He says UPI was built as a public digital good and the government has a responsibility to protect it. Zero MDR was critical to its success, enabling small shops, roadside vendors to receive payments without transactional charges. Better alternatives, Jairam Ramesh says, are on the table. RBI has the capacity to support the UPI ecosystem without charging merchants or even the consumers. Now, third point, the steering committee is yet to decide on MDR. Now, he says that policy making is not just for present but also for future, and then he goes on to highlight that point very quickly. Point number 4, the timing raises concerns. Amendment comes shortly, he says, after the US Trade Reps 2026 National Trade Estimate report citing India's UPI and RuPay ecosystem, also mentioning Brazil's PIX since it take up market share from Visa and MasterCard, and that is what he claims, that Google and Walmart control PhonePe together, and that processes over 80% of UPI transaction at a time when foreign control platforms already dominate ecosystem. India should be strengthening our digital infra, claiming that this move is going to weaken it. Finally, he says that the issue could have been discussed in Parliament. Now he replies and says Parliament has been dysfunctional in the session entirely. What he calls is the centre's fault. Opposition's demand when it comes to the HM statement highlighting has not been met, calling the Modi government evasive. So in sum and summation, this is the counter or the counter retort coming in from the side of Jairam Ramesh on the response, a direct response which had come from the side of Nirmala Sitharaman. So obviously Jairam Ramesh versus FM Nirmala Sitharaman exploding online.
Absolutely. That face-off is intensifying. Meenakshi, thank you for getting us the details. So, Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman, while fact-checking, Jairam Ramesh said that this will only apply to merchants and not to customers. But Jairam Ramesh says, just like the credit and debit card systems, it will be ultimately passed on to the consumers. And when you say merchants, you're talking about medium and small businesses. They form the very foundation or the backbone of the entire UPI system. Let me go across to Pragya. She's getting us more details. Pragya, remember the finance minister had, while responding on that first post of Jairam Ramesh, said that if you would have allowed a discussion to take place in the parliament, perhaps there would have been more clarity. Jairam Ramesh says it's the government's job. The opposition has been demanding a statement from the Home Minister. This issue should be raised in the Parliament.
Absolutely, Swati, and Finance Minister has also claimed that, in fact, explained to Jairam Ramesh in a tweet that there is a legal framework that will come through this bill. There is no mention of MDR whatsoever in this particular bill. However, there are apprehensions in the people in opposition is, what Jairam Ramesh is voicing right now. But also a fact check coming from BJP and the government on Jairam Ramesh is also one of the clauses that says that MDR debate is an Indian one, not an American one. Opposition has always claimed that India has always buckled under US pressure and therefore went back on many of the decisions. And this is why the government says that it is an Indian debate. And who pays for UPI is a question as old as UPI itself. In fact, Mr. Amit Malviya has also written a very long post explaining, giving a counter to Mr. Jairam Ramesh, saying that even if MDR is introduced, the charges would still be substantially lower than the cost of other payments options such as debit cards and credit cards. The intention of the government is that that there has been a need for a money because there's a stagnation over the period of time as far as this particular transactions are concerned. They need money for the fintech. They need money to have an innovation in this particular system so that more can be incorporated, and there could be it's a globalization that we are seeing right now. So financial resources as well needs to be undertaken. This is a debate that has happened in the government for past 2 years.
To stay on with us, we have economist Sharad Kohli joining us on the broadcast. Your take, sir. We've heard both the concerns raised by Mr. Jairam Ramesh and the fact check that has come in from Nirmala Sitharaman. But Jairam Ramesh has once again responded to the finance minister, saying that ultimately the burden will be passed on to the consumers. So what is happening in terms of economy, in terms of UPI transactions? What should the consumers, the common man, look out for?
Good afternoon, Swati, to you and the viewers. I think this needs to be understood in a broader perspective. The load on people of the country, as the Reserve Bank of India governor said, is anyway there. If this is being funded by the government, the National Payment Corporation of India, the whole fintech innovation, the people who are making UPI work, well, UPI is not working out of space. There is an administrative machinery where when one person makes the payment to the other and all the banks are integrated into your app or whatever, there is obviously a machinery working down there which involves people, which involves technology. So there is a cost which government has to bear. So at some point of time, the larger players, I really don't think, Swati, that a common man who's making small payments, person-to-person payments of 500,000 rupees, they are going to be impacted anyway. Even when it comes to larger payments, I think the burden will be more on the merchants, because this is called merchant discount rate. Obviously, like you make the payment on credit card right now, except for a few cards, which obviously I would not like to name here. Most of the cards, they don't charge you anything. They charge the merchants. The merchants have to pay commission. So likewise, this is going to be in UPI. I don't think there is any reason for concern. Look at the facilitation today. 2,200 crore transactions a month. I mean, 30 lakh crores a month. That's the volume in terms of rupees. I think the facilitation, and even if the charge is there on the merchant, is going to be very, very nominal amount. And this is ultimately an aim to keep this going, to keep looking for newer innovations, and to keep bringing facility to the common man. I really don't think this is going to burden the common man at the outset, Swati.
Right. All right. Thank you very much, Mr. Kohli, for putting things into perspective. Well, the concern of the opposition and Mr. Jairam Ramesh here is that the burden will ultimately be passed down to the consumers. Now, you've heard both sides. You've seen the face-off, which is only intensifying between Jairam Ramesh and Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman. She has also said that this particular policy is only going to encourage banks and other fintechs to invest more in infrastructure and security. Meanwhile, RBI governor has struck a pragmatic note. The RBI governor says someone will have to bear the cost of running the payments ecosystem. And he said the policy is evolving. The government is still working on the necessary amendments. It's also important here to understand the large-scale impact of this particular decision. Let's break down the details in terms of numbers. So total number of users as far as UPI is concerned are 55.49 crores. Now, transactions, if you look at the transactions alone in financial year 26, that amounts to 24,000 162 crores. This is just to give you a sense of the impact that it will have. Financial year 26 transaction value is 314.23 lakh crores. So the daily average transaction comes to around 74 crores and the daily average value is 96,405 crores. Now that is to give you a sense of the large scale impact that this will have. The opposition, meanwhile, of course, has hit out at the government. You've already seen the post of Mr. Jairam Ramesh, who says ultimately this will all be passed down to the consumers. Let's listen to the other reactions that we have lined up for you. This is how the opposition is responding.
ये जो है ना सारी गवर्नमेंट जो है सिर्फ लूटने पर लगी हुई है। कैसे आम आदमी की जेब से पैसा निकाला जाए उसके तरीके रोज नए-नए खोजते हैं। ये आम आदमी की जेब से पैसा निकालना है और अपने मित्रों को फायदा पहुंचाना है, बस इसी के एजेंडे पर ये पूरी सरकार है।
आज तक कोई ऐसा इस साल कानून बना है जो जनता के लाभ के लिए बना हो? सिवा लूटने के लिए किसी ने, अरे आप इतने से ज्यादा पैसा निकालोगे तो आपकी जेब पैसा कट जाते कि नहीं कट जाते? ये तो काम ही ऐसा कर रहे हैं। कोई काम ऐसा नहीं कर रहे हैं जो कोई प्रोडक्टिव काम हो। सिर्फ लोगों की जेब से पैसा कैसे निकाला जाए और उसको रेवड़ियों के रूप में कैसे बांटा जाए, यही काम है।
देखिए, समाजवादी पार्टी समझती कि ये भारतीय जनता पार्टी की सरकार जो किसान विरोधी है, मजदूर विरोधी है, छात्र विरोधी है, वो सरकार अब व्यापारियों के खिलाफ भी लगातार काम कर रही है। जिस तरह से यूपीआई पे एक लिमिट बांध दी कि इसके बाद वो उस पर टैक्स वसूलेंगे, कर लेंगे। समाजवादी पार्टी समझती कि कहीं ना कहीं जो व्यापारी हैं उनको बड़ा नुकसान होगा, क्योंकि ये वही भारतीय जनता पार्टी जो डिजिटल इंडिया की बात करती थी। जब डिजिटल लोग पेमेंट करने लगे और डिजिटल हो गए, तब वो अब उन पे टैक्स की बात कर रही। तो भारतीय जनता पार्टी पे कोई भरोसा नहीं कर सकता। आज व्यापारियों के लिए इस तरह के कानून आए, आने वाले समय में जनता के लिए भी आ सकते हैं।
Are merchants not citizen of this country? Merchants means they are all our brothers and sisters. No, what a strange statement it is. I would like to say it's a draconian provision, but it is going to affect millions of countrymen. This government was making big claims on digital India payment and all those things, but finally this is the reality. It's a very serious issue, and we will take up this issue in the coming days in the streets.
All right, there are more reactions coming in. BJP hitting out at Mr. Jairam Ramesh. Amit Malviya, in fact, has put out a post giving a point-by-point rebuttal to the concerns that have been raised by Jairam Ramesh. And he says, and I quote, Jairam Ramesh foolishly wants India to believe that it rewrote its payment law because of some imaginary foreign pressure. He says, foreign payment players complained about UPI. It is nothing new, and India has firmly stood its ground and acted in the interest of its citizens and fintech. Then Mr. Amit Malviya goes on to cite how foreign payment players have complained in 2018. They did so in 2023 as well. That in 2018, he says, MasterCard formally complained to the US government, but India did not buckle. So foreign players have been complaining about it. Meanwhile, India has taken UPI to 314 lakh crore in transaction value in financial year 25-26. That's the post of Amit Malviya on your screens, where he's responding to Jairam Ramesh and citing how foreign payment players have been complaining against India, but India has not bowed down, or India did not buckle, and no one is rewriting. India made no policy reversal. That's the counter coming in from Amit Malviya. Let's go across to Pragya for more on this. Pragya, this has led to a heated debate with the finance minister herself responding, but opposition says that, this is what the government has been doing ever since it came into power. The BJP came into power. Aam Aadmi ke jeb se paisa nikalne ka kaam. That was a specific charge leveled.
Well, Swati, two clarifications that the government and BJP both are giving here, which is that MDR, if introduced, because it is not yet part of the bill, and if it is introduced, the cost is going to be borne by merchants and not by consumers, as there are no charges for person-to-person payment. And also the government made it very clear that there is a specific bar. A lower transaction would not invite such cost for the merchants. It is only for the bigger payments. So these things have been clarified by government as well as BJP. but it looks like that this war has become more about UPI. Remember, government has said, and in fact in G20, many of the countries have praised UPI and also were amazed at how the digital transactions has worked in India. In fact, many of the countries have invited India to ensure that same technology is being used by them. And in fact, we have also helped many countries in starting their UPI. So it's an achievement of India that government is also boasting of. But they're also in a way, BJP in a way, saying that because we have achieved this, opposition has to oppose it. And in fact, there are many instances that Mr. Malviya, as you rightly said, has quoted that there have been times when American companies have complained throughout the years since 2018 to 2025 that it is going to harm the foreign investors and it is going to benefit the domestic players in India. So when a system is there to help the Indian players, why should opposition have any sort of objection to it? The only objection Mr. Jairam Ramesh right now seems to be having is that the customer will eventually pay the price that the merchant will have to pay in MDR if that is approved. While that is not yet approved, is what government is saying. It's saying that they are just providing a legal framework for such a notification if need be, because you also need money to improve for innovation in fintech. If need be, we will do that, but there would be a bar of a minimum payment on which there will be no MDR, and there will be MDR on the higher side. But that would government is also saying that we will also ensure that.
Okay, I'll have to interrupt. I'll have to interrupt and come in here because we have IP Singh of the Samajwadi Party joining us on the broadcast. IP Singh, फाइनेंस मिनिस्टर कह रही हैं कि ये मर्चेंट डिस्काउंट रेट है MDR मर्चेंट्स पर एप्लीकेबल होगा, कंज्यूमर्स पर नहीं. उसके बाद अमित मालवीय ने भी एक पोस्ट किया, वो कह रहे हैं कि अगर चार्जेस की बात है, अगर MDR आ भी जाता है, लागू कर भी दिया जाता है, तो वो जो दूसरे पेमेंट मोड्स है जैसे कि क्रेडिट कार्ड, डेबिट कार्ड, उनसे बहुत कम होंगे चार्जेस और पर्सन टू पर्सन ट्रांजैक्शन पर चार्जेस नहीं है. तो फिर ऑपोजिशन क्यों ये भ्रम फैला रहा है बीजेपी के मुताबिक कि आम आदमी पर बर्डन बढ़ने वाला है?
देखिए, जनधन खाते जब खोले गए तो उसका ढिढोरा पूरे देश में पीटा गया. बैंक सबसे ज्यादा बैंक के खाते डॉक्टर मनमोहन सिंह जी ने खोला, उसके बाद मोदी जी ने उसको आगे बढ़ाया. और जब ये खाते देश भर में बड़ी संख्या में खुल गए, आम लोगों के खाते खुल गए, मैं तो समझता हूं कि आपके भी जो बैंक अकाउंट है उसमें भी एक लिमिट लगा दी गई कि अगर ये 10,000, 20,000, 50,000, 1 लाख रुपए से कम रहेगा तो पर मंथ हम 100 रुपए से लेके 500 रुपए तक काटेंगे. इस तरह से केंद्र सरकार ने और भारतीय बैंकों ने, अब RBI क्यों ओवरलुक करता है बात समझ से परे है कि 23,000 करोड़ से ज्यादा इन गरीब लोगों के खातों से बैंकों ने हड़प लिया. तो सरकार की साख और विश्वसनीयता पूरी तरह खतरे में है. पूरी तरह से वित्त मंत्री हर मोर्चे पर फेल हुई हैं. उन्होंने कहा कि डॉलर मजबूत.
वित्त मंत्री ये कह रही हैं कि ये मर्चेंट्स के लिए है, ये कंज्यूमर्स के लिए नहीं है. वित्त मंत्री अपनी तरफ से जो क्लैरिफिकेशन दे रही हैं उसमें कह रही हैं पहली बात संसद में चर्चा हो सकती थी अगर ऑपोजिशन चर्चा होने देता. दूसरा वो कह रही हैं कि ये मर्चेंट्स के लिए, ये कंज्यूमर्स के लिए नहीं है.
और वित्त मंत्री अपनी साख और विश्वसनीयता देश में खो चुके हैं. इन पर कोई भरोसा नहीं करता और ये लोग गला काटने का काम किया और कुछ चुनिंदा पूंजीपतियों को.
Caved in Agra and this has happened on a newly constructed road. This is not an old stretch of road. According to reports coming in, this is a newly constructed road in Agra which now remains in this state, which a large portion of the road caving in. In fact, there was a protest that was held as well, a unique protest by a Samajwadi Party leader who stepped inside the sinkhole with the help of the ladder to show how this large stretch on a newly constructed road caved in. And the other incident is being reported from Ludhiana in Punjab. Let me go across to Adeeb, who's joining us with more details. Adeeb, like I said, there was a unique protest that was held by a SP leader, but the bigger concern here is that this has happened on a newly constructed road. It raises questions on infrastructure, on the quality of construction.
Well, certainly, Swati, and it also raises the question that how these constructions are being done by the private companies and the government companies who are being given the charge for the construction. If you talk about the Agra, it's a very large portion of the road that has caved in, and in fact, a unique protest was done by the Samajwadi Party, in which the local Samajwadi Party leader of Agra, he used a ladder to step down inside that particular road to show that how much deeper this particular cave-in portion is, and similarly. Recently, we saw that what happened on the Lucknow-Kanpur Expressway, how there were several portions of the expressway that was completely destroyed. So this clearly raises a question on how the infrastructure work is being done in the state, and the recent example is from Agra, Swati.
Thank you very much for getting us the details. We'll connect with you for more updates. For now, we're shifting our focus to this breaking news coming in on the broadcast from Kuala Lumpur. We're given to understand that there was a narrow escape for Kuala Lumpur flight. A major tragedy was in fact averted on the Batik Air flight. A passenger tried to open the emergency exit door, and the passenger, allegedly according to reports, has damaged the emergency exit. So a major tragedy could have happened, which was averted in time. The passengers on this particular flight narrowly avoided a tragedy. This has happened on a Batik Air flight from Kuala Lumpur to Kochi after a passenger allegedly damaged the emergency exit window panel and tried to open the emergency exit door while the aircraft was mid-air. So this incident caused panic among the passengers and the cabin crew as well, who quickly stepped in and managed to stop the passenger who damaged the emergency exit window and was trying to open the door mid-air. This particular accused, and there are visuals coming in as well, the accused has been identified as 36-year-old Jamshir, a native of Palakkad, who currently lives in Sri Moolanagaram. After the flight landed, he was handed over to the police. He has now been placed under arrest. This was a Boeing 737 Batik Air flight, which was flying from Kuala Lumpur to Kochi. And this incident happened between 9:30 p.m. and 11:05 when the flight was on its way to Kochi. Let's go across to Arpita, who's getting us more details. Arpita, as of now, this is what we're given to understand, that the passenger has been placed under arrest. What more are you picking up? Why did he try to do this? Why did he damage the emergency exit window? And why was he trying to open the emergency door mid-air?
Well, Swati, this incident happened on Wednesday night when it was flying from Kuala Lumpur to Kochi, when this 36-year-old man named Jamshir had tried to open the emergency window, and the emergency window had gotten damaged as well, because of which there was a lot of chaos, panic inside the flight. The other co-passengers also got panicked. The cabin crew had to intervene immediately, and they tried to calm the passengers in that flight. So what we've been able to know is that this particular man got panicked. Exact reason is still unknown. He got a panic attack in the flight, because of which he tried to open the emergency exit, but the cabin crew tried to calm him down, and immediately after the flight landed, he was handed over to the police. The investigation is underway. He has been arrested, but the exact reason why he tried to open the emergency window, they're still trying to get to know the details from him. But this incident happened on Wednesday night when the flight was flying from Kuala Lumpur to Kochi. So as of now, this 35-year-old man has been arrested by the Kochi police.
Absolutely. Arpita, in fact, we're looking at the visuals, and the cabin crew stepping in, the other passengers also trying to, get a hold of this passenger. They were eventually, of course, able to overpower him, but this is concerning and must have been a big scare mid-air for all the other passengers in the flight.
Well, a lot of the other passengers had come forward saying that they got really scared, because this particular man was trying to kick the emergency exit. He tried to damage it, and eventually also in the visuals also you can see the emergency exit is clearly damaged. And that is when the cabin crew, even though they were trying to calm all the passengers, they were really scared, because this man was not calming down. The cabin crew had to talk to him politely, make him understand. Only then he calmed down, as both the officials are saying. But as soon as the flight had landed, the cabin crew had informed Nirmala police, and in fact, when the flight had landed, the Nirmala police came and arrested him.
All right, so now action has been taken and the passenger has been handed over to the police who have arrested him. Thank you, Arpita, for getting us the details. Let's move on now. We have more breaking inputs coming in from the state of Karnataka. And we are given to understand that the Health Department's Food Safety Wing in the state of Karnataka has raided 5-star hotels in Bengaluru. Raids were conducted to check the hygiene standards. Storage units of these hotels were also raided. Adulterated and expired food is under the lens and 20 liters of expired milk was seized. Let's go across to Akshara for more on this. Akshara, was there a tip-off before the raids were conducted?
Well, you see, this is part of one of the routine the raids that are being conducted by the Karnataka Health Department, and one such raid has been conducted. And also now this is being conducted on the almost many 5-star hotels here in the Bengaluru, and also during one such raid, as you mentioned, 20 liters of expired milk was said to be found, and it has been seized. And there are various parameters on which such raids are being conducted. They are checking on the infrastructure, the cleanliness, the storage facilities that are available, and also the refrigeration facilities and the discarding of the items as well. So based on these parameters, the raids are being conducted. And once the raids are done, as I mentioned earlier, 20 liters of expired
All right, so
milk
this was conducted to check the hygiene standards at these 5-star hotels. Thank you very much, Akshara, for getting us the details. That's what we could pack for our viewers in this edition of Newsify. Quick break, lot more lined up on the other side. Stay on with us.